Okay, it's July 15th, 2:55 p.m. Let's see, what is today? Today's Thursday. I'm at my mom's house doing a garden tour part 7. We finally have these flowers blooming, and I just barely put that sunflower there. Well, it was yesterday morning while Zone 2 was on, and I put it there so it wouldn't spray. He's really getting all the way back in the grass, and it was spraying and just hitting the heck out of them and not getting over here. Then I guess I saw that it was back over there, so I just barely put it back there to keep those things like from bending over in the grass. Those ones are, but basically these flowers are blooming now. They're really cool looking. I love them. They're really pretty. And they're blooming at the bottom, but they'll be blooming at the top. It's been a while since I've done a garden tour at my mom's and my dad's house. These ones are blooming too, and this will all be blooming soon too. And that one looks like it's done blooming almost. But these were the feverfew flowers that look like white daisies. They're kind of done blooming now. But these ones are still blooming a little bit. These got huge this year. Over here, we haven't been having the sprinklers hit this area. I've been trying to have my mom let me adjust them to hit this area, but she wants to use it with the hose for some reason. I'm like, okay. Even though the hose ain't doing anything, I'm like, this is ridiculous. So our boxwood bushes aren't doing good. I mean, like this boxwood bush and that boxwood bush is doing good, and this cat spruce bush is doing good. But the plant that's over here that had the red flowers are really pretty. It's not really doing good. It's starting to die because they ain't getting no water. And I'm like, well, we can have this pop-up spray in a circle, and we can have that one spray half instead of quarter, and having this one spray half. We can make it spray in a circle so it actually get these bushes, because it ain't gonna do a dang thing. But no, she doesn't want that. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess have some dead bushes, which affects me. But anyways, we have these plants, and they're dying too, which is really sad. She's like, oh, we're gonna transplant them. I'm like, yeah, good luck. Basically, we've also had lilies over here that died because she didn't want these spraying over here. But moms are moms. They have their own house, and they want it to be the way they want it, even though it might be uglier. But even though I'm a really good landscaper and I know how to make things look pretty, sometimes people just don't want it that way, and that's fine. The lilies over here are done blooming, so they're kind of dying off. At least these flowers are doing good. The bush back there is growing really big and tall again. We trimmed it, I think, I don't remember if it was a spring or last year, but one of those. I don't know if you can see it, there's a paper wasp nest right behind there, some wasps on it. And then these have pretty flowers. Well, actually, I don't know, I don't think these bloom yet, but basically like these ones right here, which look the same as these orange ones, but they're different. Like they have like, these are the flowers they had on it, and they look like really cool. They look like, I don't even know how to explain it, but I wonder if they're even blooming anymore, because I think they didn't even barely even bloom, and I think they're just dying already. That's kind of sad. I was hoping they'd bloom. And that's the same as one on the other side. Then there's these lilies are done blooming, but these flowers are over here blooming too. Looks so pretty. These ones are just starting to. And then there's those ones too. And then there's another paper wasp nest there, and another one under there. So yeah. We also have, let's see, well, I have no idea what this is right here. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it's, I think it's like might be a tree or something, like a sapling that just sprouted from nowhere. I have no idea yet. It's like right in the middle of those lilies. And those are Virginia creeper vines. I don't know where it came from, but it's just a weed vine. Then there's that bush. Then over here, with the tree that we had over here, the quaking aspen tree, when it fell down somehow, I don't know, I guess it got chopped down by the lawn people that come here and check around the lawn and make sure it works. Basically, because quaking aspens, their roots have saplings that come on up from them, which is annoying. But in this case, I like how it did that, because I mean, like, we wouldn't have another tree if it didn't do that. This is the tree's trunk, had all these saplings come up from it, and they're water sprouts, so they're growing really awfully fast. But these will be trees. Well, they are trees, but they'll be huge probably in a couple years, and it'll be probably this tall, which will be really, really nice. So we put those things around. I think in the last video they were like a little bit taller than this, and now they're like huge. They're like a foot tall, a little taller than that. And there's this Douglas fir tree that ain't doing too good, but it's still got new growth right here, but it's still not doing that good. But oh well. And the flagpole right there that we installed in the beginning of this summer or spring, end of the spring probably. Okay, and the backyard, tons of weeds over here where grass is supposed to be, and I ended up weeding out that little flower box a couple weeks ago and transplanting a sunflower that was all the way on the other side of the yard in here. It looks like it's doing crappy, but it's kind of doing a little bit better. Transplants are hard for like transplanting flowers is hard on them, and it really worries me. Like, oh, I don't want to transplant because it's probably gonna die, but it's doing okay. This one just grew from a seed, like literally like in the trench that was right here that went to our new sprinkler system. So that one just, like a lot of the seeds from our garden last year that was over there got spread everywhere, all around the yard. There was a pumpkin grown in the front yard trench, all over by the driveway, but it got chopped by the lawnmower. So yeah, this is a mammoth sunflower. I don't know how long we're gonna keep it there. And this is asparagus beans grown from last year also. There was asparagus beans, a lot of them right there, but I don't know how good this is doing. Hopefully it'll do okay. And tons of other weeds. Tons of weeds in here too. That's gonna be grass too, but it's just dirt and basically had weeds grown in it. And we literally, I literally saw starts of the petunias growing there. My mom freaking thought it was a weed. I was like, no, it's not a weed. I promise. She's like not that good of a gardener, no offense. And she's like, so I'm like, okay, trust me. Listen, this isn't a weed. See now, this, for example, that's a weed, but there was like something growing right here. It looked like the start of the petunias, but it weren't blooming yet. It was just really little. And she thought it was a weed. I was like, man. And then we had a rose bush back here that died. Just everything, I guess. The neighbor's apricot trees are doing good. They got tons of apricots, and it's always around the end of June when we start getting apricots all over the lawn and their lawn, which is really cool. I think it's cool. And they just drop from the trees all the time, and it's really cool. The apricot tree's doing good. And then it's not ours though. We need more trees. It's the only tree that provides shade, and then this plum tree does too. It's finally getting plums on it. I think there's one there. There's one over there somewhere. Last time I did this video, they were green. See, there's some right there, I think. Let's see if it shows up. Where are we? Right there. Finally got some plums on this tree. We want to get more trees. We really need more trees because our backyard's dying because of so much sun and gets the water drying up from it so fast. And it's so ridiculous because the people that lived in the house before us, when we moved in this house, we didn't have no trees. But if you look at the street view or the satellite view of our house, like maybe 11 years ago, we had a pool here, which we got rid of, but we had 2 trees over there against that fence, a huge tree there, and a huge tree there, which we chopped down the stump there. And then we saw the stump there. Huge tree there. There was a huge tree, well, not a huge tree, but there was a tree over there by that gate. And then in the front yard and the rocks over by the road, we had 3 trees on that side, and then in the side yard, a tree there. And the freaking people that lived here before us chopped them all down. They even made the neighbors like chop down their trees. Not chop down their trees, but cut their branches back. I was like, that's ridiculous. And now we want tons of trees. Anyways, this is where our grass is gonna be soon. This stump that used to be here, there's still pieces of it here, still like roots and stuff, but. And then this is part of it too, but we need to chop it down a little bit more, grind it down or whatever. And there's a lot of weeds back here. There was some pieces of lettuce, some areas of lettuce, and my mom went up too. I was like, man, I need to beat them all around here. Even though I do it sometimes, sometimes my mom does it. We do have a sunflower here. It's like, because we had it looks different, and we had the sunflower there too that came back. They all look different from each other, like they're all different. They're all mammoth sunflowers, but they're different types of mammoth sunflowers. And then, oh yeah, so we had a huge pumpkin over there and all these weeds that I literally, because I mowed all the weeds over here and then I left the pumpkin up here like all tall and didn't mow this area, and my mom freaking mowed it up. I'm like, come on. So I was like, you know what, I give up. We still have this sunflower here, which is pretty nice. Hopefully this will stay here before we have to get sod in. This area is all going to be grass. Then all that area against the fence is going to be rocks. So yeah, we just like I gotta figure out a way to just, I don't know, figure out a way to let my mom know, oh my gosh, so this is a weed and this is not a weed. Like that kind of stuff. And then over here, I don't know if I showed you this area. These are where our sweet williams were. They're they stopped blooming for a while, then they started blooming again. We ended up putting a pop-up here on zone 1, and that was like a little drip piece, but we ended up taking it off and putting a pop-up there because this area was dying, and it still kind of is. There's our air conditioner. Last year we had a blackberry bush where the air conditioner is at, but we had to take that out, and we had a blueberry bush there, took that out too. So then there's the lilies here that are done blooming. So yeah, that's our garden. Crappy compared to last year. Really disappointed. I was hoping we'd have a really good garden. All we really have is perennials and some sunflowers and pumpkins that won't probably stay. Hopefully they'll be able to bloom or we'll get something out of them before they stay. But all the pumpkins are freaking dead now. All the lettuce is dead. We just have sunflowers and asparagus beans. Hopefully those trees, those saplings over there will turn into trees before too long, and we'll have to freaking chop those down. I'm like, come on, dude, like, we need these. We ain't have nothing in our yard. We ain't got no trees or nothing. But we're planning on having a good garden next year, so that's also why she kind of just chopped them down, like, not realizing that I wanted them. So we could probably like have like a really, we're planning, this year's what we call just one of those years, a catch-up year, while we got our sprinkler system put in, our new one, and kind of still need to add sod and grass over in this area and in the back of the yard. Still need to do that. And then by next year we're gonna plant whole new seeds and have a huge garden. Hopefully it won't be as big as last year's because the back area will be grass, but we'll have like probably some plants over here and on the other side, and not enough room for anything over here, so we'll just have these same perennials. But we might plant some more perennials like those. We might plant more of those in here. So yeah, my mom really thought this was a weed like a month ago. I was like, no. It's not a weed. It's called feverfew. They're beautiful daisies. They're flowers. You don't want to pull this out. This we had last year was so beautiful and wasn't even as big as it is this year. So that's why she thought it was a weed, because she thought it was bigger, and it was bigger than it was last year, double in size, but she thought it was a weed. I was like, no, I promise, it's not a weed. It's called feverfew. They're really pretty flowers, and now they're done blooming, but you know. Anyways, yeah, it's weeds. I swear they're hard to tell the difference. Like, even when I'm an expert, knowing like, oh my gosh, even I'm an expert with plants and knowing which one's which, it's hard to know the difference between weeds and other things. Like, it's just, weeds are just a pain. Like, they suck. I mean, like, if you're in Florida, weeds they're just native plants there that just grow there. Like, weeds are just plants that are native to the area they're at. But around here in the desert or in Utah, they're just like, weeds are usually thorny around here, so that's why people pull them out, is because they're thorny. If we lived in Florida where there's not as many thorny weeds and most of the weeds look like grass, they're just fine. I've seen yards in Florida where we were that were just, some yards had grass like this, but usually it was just grass mixed with weeds and stuff. But it wasn't a big deal because they weren't like goat head weeds, like thorn weeds or anything. But anyways, it's our garden. It really sucks kind of this year, but hopefully we'll do better next year. We'll get some more plants. So yeah, this is my mom's garden tour, and I'll probably do one at my dad's house sometime soon. Our plants there aren't doing too well either because we did not do in a garden. We just have perennials also, so this year's kind of boring. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'll keep you updated.